Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be comparing the BMW X2 behind me to the BMW X3, so stay tuned for this video. So if I start off with the X2 in front of me, this particular car is just over 4 metres and 4,360 millimetres in length, 1800 width and 1526 in length. Look at the boot space inside the X2. We have 470 litres of boot space with the seats up, and we have 1355 with the seats folded flat with internal cargo volume. We do have a little bit of storage as well underneath, and both models are power electric tailgates. So if I jump round to the X3, here we have 550 litres of boot space. Ignore all the dog hair, and with the seats folded down we have 1600 litres of boot space, so it's about 80 litres more with the seats up and just over 245 litres of boot space with the seats folded down, so you can see that extra cargo room due to the height of the car. Again, we do have a power tailgate on the X3. So the wheelbase on the X2 is quite short in comparison to the X3, so it's 2,670, which if anybody's curious, that's the wheelbase there between the two tyres. So in the back of the car is where the space is most limited. You do have a little bit of storage, a little bit of adjustment. You can pull this to fold it down, and as you can see, you can have a little bit of movement there, so you can pull that tab and slide that, push that all the way if you want a little bit more room there. But apart from that, it is pretty neat back here with headroom and legroom. I'm 5'11" for reference, and it is quite neat. But we do have USB chargers in the back, netting, and the cup holders here. But I have also noticed on the X2 we don't have any padding here, it's just hard scratchy plastic down the side there. And here's a quick look at the door card as well. Got a little bit of storage in there, all kind of plastic and that, not rubberized or felt or anything. And this particular model being sport, we don't have any mood lighting either. A quick look inside the cabin of the car. It's typical BMW fare. It is a little bit dated now. It is an F series vehicle, and being 2020 as well, it does look a little bit dated in comparison to the X3. It is quite handy, both these being 2020 models. So if I put the engine on, you can see that's backlit. It is a traditional analog gauge with a black panel down here. We do have iDrive 6, which means you can't write on it, but it is touchscreen. And you can zoom around like so, and everything you want can be done across with the rotary knob. It is well built in here. We do have kind of some sort of stitching going across to make it look a bit more premium. This being the sport trim, it is the base model for the X2, especially in 2022. There was an SE spec previously, but the sport model is the basic trim, so that's why we've got things like the cloth seats. We've got blank buttons, where your heated seats would be blank buttons down here. I think that'd be your auto hold. I think hill descent control would be there. Heated seats in a higher spec model, and I think that's where your CD player would have been, because that just looks like it's been blocked off with a bit of plastic. And the steering wheel as well feels a bit like my 2011 1 series that I had, which was an F20 series. But we do have little paddle shifts here, and I believe this is just a DCT gearbox. It's not the 8-speed ZF that you get in the X3. But speaking of engines and kind of gearboxes, I'll just turn the engine off. You do get a range of petrol, diesel and plug-in hybrids. The range starts about 1.5 litre 3-cylinder petrol, and you can get a 2 litre petrol as well in the M35i, and you can get a 2 litre diesel, and you can also get the plug-in hybrid, which is the 30e, which you can also get in the X3. But I just wanted to show you guys a quick look. There's the kind of space, you can see cabin height. Legroom's not bad. As I said, as for the driver up front, you do have pretty reasonable legroom, and you can get uncomfortable. I do quite like how the cup holders meet, like so. You'll see something similar when I show you the X3 in a minute. But yeah, these kind of meet similar, quite like that idea. You do have a little bit of charging port there and cup holders, but nowhere to really put your phone or wireless charging. I wonder if wireless charging would be down here, if that was an option. And while I'm talking about the X2 and we're in it, the X2 is an sDrive, front wheel drive, because it is based on platform shared with the X1 and Mini models. sDrive, sorry, is your front wheel drive, and then xdrive is BMW's all wheel drive system that you can get on the X2. So here's the door cards on the front. It said it's kind of premium feeling. Ignore the Typhoon jets flying by, and not every car video is having that, but yeah, it feels premium, well built. Not a fan of this fabric at all, but you can get upgrade to the leather interior if you wish, and obviously you can get the M Sport package as well if you wanted to upgrade the model. Everything is manually adjustable on the Sport trim, and you've got even the black kind of door sills there. I have noticed as well, actually, there's no window switch. Sorry, to fold the wing mirrors up when you lock the car up. It doesn't fold the wing mirrors in, so they're manually adjustable there. And this one we have a look at the X3, where we've got the jets going by again. This is the car key for it, and we jump inside. As you can see, M Sport, we've got the M cells, so we'll ignore that because you can get that on the X2. However, you do notice you do sit a little bit higher than the X3, sorry, you sit a little bit higher than the X2. Again, everything in this car is a little bit more premium than the X2 that you'd expect. I think like for like, there's not much in it, but as that stands in, Sport 220i sDrive X2 is about 37 grand, and this, an M Sport 2 litre diesel is about 47, so it's about £10,000 between them. But the time you spec that up with an M Sport package and other bits, you're going to be closer. That gap's going to get narrower and closer. I think the X2 is quite expensive for what it is in comparison to the X3, just because it gives you a little bit more versatility. The X3, where we're talking about it, you get the leather seats, you don't get the cloth. You can upgrade to other colours as well if you want. Engine wise, 2 litres the base model, so you get 20i, 2 litre diesel, then you get 3 litre diesels, 3 litre petrols, and you don't get any 1.5s or anything like that. So like I mentioned, in the X2, you do get a kind of cover here. The X2 one kind of meets in the middle, which is quite neat. This is just one big large cover, but you do get a nice easy storage area for your phone. This car has the technology pack, so you do have the wireless charging there, USB cable and 2 drink holders. Down here we've got the latest sDrive 7, so it's a larger touchscreen up here, and then you've got this you can write on, and it has BMW Assistant, gesture control. You can say things like, hey BMW, take me home, and it will do that. Like all BMWs, you can run your fingers across these numbers, and it tells you things like there's your home address, radio stations, etc. And then down here, things like your heated seats, which are standard in the X3, and then you do get a couple of white buttons here, which I wonder if that would be cooled seats. I'm not quite sure what they would be. If anybody knows, comment below. As you can see for the dash, slightly different design. I said it's not got any of that fake kind of stitching on it, it's just plastic as it is, but it is rubberized, and then down here it's all kind of well built, but pretty solid. I do like the silver trim, but again, you can get wood, black gloss, etc. And then the X3, you've got things like your mood lighting, as I mentioned. You can get in the higher trim levels of the X2. So unlike the X2 that comes in petrol, diesel and hybrid, we also get them on the X3, but there's also an iX3, which is a full electric BMW plug-in electric vehicle. It's rear-wheel drive only, called the iX3, which is slightly kind of a different model, but it is also a variant of the X3 body style. So I just thought I'd mention that in comparing both models. As you can see already, we've got a lot more headroom and a lot more space. I think there's about 200mm difference on the wheelbase, so in the back there's a lot more room for your passengers, and just a little bit more comfortable just because you have more boxy shape. So the instrument display on the X3 as well, because it is the latest model with the iDrive 7, you do get a more configurable dash, as you've seen in the X2. you did have the standard analog gauge with the black panel. Here we do have a digital dash that allows you to switch between different kind of gauge modes. You can push this BC button over here and flip through things on the left hand side. But yeah, you can even have the map, or you can change that as well, so it's a little bit more configurable than the X2. But I think that's something they'll probably bring in with the next generation of X2, just because the time of filming, which is June 2022, they've launched the new X1, so I think the new X2 can't be far off. But here's the pinch to zoom. This has Apple CarPlay, etc., but pretty good, pretty responsive, if this works on camera. There we go.
Between the Thickthorn roundabout and Wotton Road for a police investigation.
I'll just turn them off, there we go. So another thing on the X3 is the fact that you get double glazing, which you do not get on the X2. Also you get the fold-in mirrors, which is quite handy in tight car park spaces. So if we have a quick look at the keys, you see they look quite similar on first glance, but the X2 doesn't have a button down below to put the home lights on, which means you can set that to put the one for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and also just because of the M Sport, with X3's M Sport, we do have the colours down the side. But apart from that, the same kind of new key, which is interesting because this is an F series car and that's a G series car. So anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video on the BMW X3 and BMW X2 comparison. If you're looking for a small kind of city car, maybe something to do with space is important to you, the X2 is a premium offering within that segment. If you can afford the space on your driveway in every day life with regards to storing the vehicle, the X3 is maybe worth a little bit extra more, just because you get things like heated seats as standard, you sit a little bit higher, you've got a little bit more space. And with regards to fuel economy, I think we're sitting about 42 to a gallon on the X2 there, as tested, and in this X3 we're sitting about 44, 45, so there isn't much in it. And this is the 8-speed ZF gearbox, which I forgot to mention in the video, which is pretty good, pretty smooth, probably one of the best in the business from what I can see online. Without me rambling on too much, both great cars, but if you value space and practicality, the X3 is the way to go. If you value size of the car, the X2 is the way to go. But I think you have to be very careful of spec on the X2, just because the option seems to add up quite quickly. And I think like for like a 2-litre diesel or 2-litre petrol, M Sport, anytime you add some packages onto that, you're only probably talking about a couple of £1,000 to get into the X3. So it is something to consider. As always, I just want to say thanks very much for watching if you made it this far in the video. If you've got any comments, comment below, and yeah, I will see you next video. Ciao.